Welcome to A4NB4Y.
On this very special episode of A for No, B for Yes, we're gonna say goodbye to the Wind Waker. We'll rank the Zelda games that we previously played, and we're gonna pick out our favorite, and therefore maybe least favorite, Link's, Zeldas, and Ganon's. Hi, I'm Duke Nukem, and I'm welcoming you to A for No, B for Yes. And as always, because I'm always here in spirit, I'm joined by my co-hosts. Hi, I'm Luigi, and I'm not Duke Nukem.
Hi, I'm Ryan Fonzie, and I'm not Duke Nukem either.
I'm Anthony, but better known as Duke Nukem's tongue that's on fire right now.
Cameron Hagee, a Duke Nukem with a dietary pill problem.
Gosh. What makes it a problem? This I need to
I
know.
don't know.
Just like the way they
using them
taste.
at all.
The activity.
I eat them on top of a massive amount of food, and my stomach is growing exponentially inwardly. Now I have to eat 3 whole pizzas in order to feel full.
I think it's generally accepted that you should only take speed when prescribed by a licensed physician.
Define
I don't know any
licensed.
physicians that would do that.
I don't know. I'm sure there's an application for it somewhere.
I go to a guy who has license written in crayon on his wall. Does that count?
Depends on who wrote it.
I think he
Depends
did.
on your
Is it signed by a
local
notary?
state bylaws.
No, it just has the word license, and it might be spelled with 2 S's.
Well, that's how you know it's real.
Right?
Yeah.
They do silly things like that, just so that the layman doesn't catch on. All right, so yeah, this is our mid-season, between-season episode, if you will, where we will be doing some recaps, some rankings, some fun activities in between. We're doing, each one of these ends up being a little bit different. We had at least 3 or 4 there where we didn't do any kind of ranking at all. We just completely forgot. But yeah, these are our special between-episodes. So welcome, everyone. We're here. We have Luigi still with us from this season behind. It pains me to say that, as far as I know, this will be his last episode guesting with us for the time being. But we were very appreciative of you being here.
It was super duper fun to do this. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna get emotional now.
Thank you.
And if
start
you ever
crying
want
on
to
me,
do a
Duke
guest
Nukem.
episode again, just reach out
All right.
and we'll figure it
All
out.
right. Okay.
That'd be great.
Likewise.
Awesome. Yeah, guys, let's start with just the Wind Waker, right? This is what we just got done going through, start to finish, saving Errol, saving the world, becoming the hero. How are we feeling about it? Like, what looking back, did anything surprise you? Did anything you just didn't remember being there? Anything that you really liked or really didn't like that, stood out?
The first thing that stood out to me with this whole experience was that the first time playing through it, I never realized that we actually joined the Mafia.
Very true.
Mm.
I realized how much the Swift Sail helps in this game because I'd never gotten it in a previous playthrough of this game, and wowie wow, I don't think I would want to play the game without it.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that surprised me in a bad way was my jacked up memory of the ghost ship, which was like, oh, it's this great thing, and then it was a glorified submarine, and I was like, oh, this was really disappointing.
Yeah. I've seen better submarines.
Those are like my high and my low of, wow, the quick sail is amazing, and the submarine, or basically the haunted submarine is not.
Yeah,
I think if
I get you there.
Yeah. I think the thing that struck me the most this time is I just always took the connections to Ocarina of Time as very not strong, but that it was very real. This is a continuation, and in some ways, I wish it isn't, because this time I don't know if I had ever thought as much about the things that connect the two together, and it has me now thinking, if this is a sequel to that game, I like it less than if it were just its own thing, because it just like it adds so many more questions. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I guess that might have been the most striking thing of like how I was like at least rock solid I thought the connections were. And I used to say to people like, well, you kind of do have to play Ocarina to like really appreciate all of Wind Waker. And yeah, I don't know so much anymore. I'd say just play Wind Waker.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously if you can tune that stuff out and it makes it better for you, then play it that way. It's definitely it's got enough adventure of its own where it doesn't need to be connected to Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do with the incompleteness of it, and I'm sure they patched up a lot of the plot points, tied things up together as best as they could. There was probably a lot more information, a lot more connective tissue, like story wise, that they didn't have time to introduce or develop or things like that. But all the more reason to just think of it as its own thing. Just like it doesn't matter what they forgot, it's fine.
Yeah, it seems like I think the thing about this game that I mean, I'm trying to come up with like positive things and I'm struggling a little bit because like I do like this game.
Mm.
It feels like riding a bike to me. Like I get into it. It's very familiar, very much like, oh yeah, like this is home. Like I know this, what I'm doing here.
You get on the ocean, you're on the Great Sea, and it's just like, no, this just feels right. This is good.
Yeah, like
Man,
even
it's
like
great.
the cannon tank controls and everything. I'm like, yeah, there's some mixed in mechanics here that I really appreciate and that work really well.
It's funny how a game can make you forget that the inverted X and Y axis is mandatory. At least like on the GameCube, I don't remember if it is I think you can switch at least one of them on the HD version. But and that's not the thing I bring up when I think about controlling and playing this game, because it just feels so good to play, and it's funny that I can forget about that.
But I think the thing that surprised me a little bit, and in a way that I found to be disappointing, and I know I talk about this a lot of times when we go back over a Zelda game that I haven't played in a while or whatever, but the story of this game is pretty weak, honestly.
Yep.
Like there's a
Fizzles.
good chunk of like I don't know, like the theme kind of comes around to, hey, we're like, let's leave the past in the past and move towards a better future. We base our culture on the past, but we don't have to be defined by it. Like there's like this, hey, like we all know this story about this hero and we need a hero, but you don't have to be the same hero. And that's all well and good, but it's very like instead of a story, we just have that. Like we just have that theme. We're just gonna keep kind of telling you this same message over and over again in different ways.
Yeah, I think they set something up that was pretty good, but they didn't have the time or the space to develop it when
Yeah.
things started to get rushed.
And
Like, well, we
I
have to
think
finish this.
yeah, I think when I was younger playing the game, I didn't need story as much.
Hmm.
And part of that was because like I think I was just way more immersed in the game where I felt like, oh, like I'm living a story. What do you mean story? Like look at this. This is incredible that I get to like sail around this ocean with actual sailing mechanics and I have to change the wind speed every once in a while. Like this is amazing. And I was just kind of taken in by the world to a point where I didn't feel like I needed backstory because I just had what was in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And after playing many other games and aging, I'm kind of like, if this were a book, it'd be a very boring book. Like I need a
Yeah.
little bit more in terms of like, why are we doing this? What's our development? You know. Just
All my
just
favorite
more.
characters disappear halfway through.
Right.
I think we talked about it at a like I don't remember what episode it was, but we kind of went over like where the game sorta and you just mentioned it, someone, I don't know if it was you or Luigi or Senpai, but the game fizzled out. And I think it was around the game started so strong in terms of like theatrics and cinematics and like what's happening. The whole first half of the game is super strong. And then as you get to where about Jabun is and the Tower of the Gods, that is and the Hyrule Castle, like everything after that is just a linear disaster. It's just downhill, I feel. Like everything after that felt almost like a different game. It's the same game, same mechanics, same quests, same link, same boat, same ocean. It's just the whole vibe was different.
Yeah,
And
like
That's when the game opens up.
Valu burns the treehouse and also the story. It's like forget it.
metaphorically destroyed.
Like from then on out, it becomes a game about exploring all the places that you have passed on your way. Like, because they have been telling you, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, and except for like once you burn the treehouse down, there is very little story left other than 2 dungeons, pick up some triangle pieces.
Yeah.
But the game becomes explore. We've given you all the tools you need to explore the rest of the map.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a bad idea. Like I don't think that that was like entirely misguided to be like, okay, well here's all the density of the story and then here's like we're just going to open up the world and let you go wherever. But it definitely does, like if you're a big fan of that first half, the second half is going to feel like, hey, what happened to my game?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't what I
Especially
wanted.
when it feels like they were about to introduce something big, like
Yeah.
an under the water area that never got introduced.
Yep.
So, I mean, overall, I still really like this game. It's just definitely lost some of the shine that it had when I was a kid, some of the excitement that I felt about it, but still worth playing. Like, I can still see myself coming back to this game at some point,
Nothing else plays like it.
which I can't say about every game we've played, but
Yeah.
It's its own thing. It's different. It's really just the story. I mean, honestly, like the quest lines were actually very unique and different in this one. I mean, most of them, and some of the like fetch quests they have you do, and like the whole like watering the Deku trees, like on the islands, and just all the little things that make this game what it is. Honestly, the side quests in this game stand up stronger as like a world building experience than the actual story, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of sad. Even just the mechanics of the game, like the ocean and sailing and everything stands up and makes the world and the story just doesn't. So like everything outside of that is just a really strong game.
Yeah.
all right.
It's one of my I don't know, like nothing. Like I said, nothing plays. No other Zelda game plays like this game. It's incredible. I love it. I love playing it. I love fighting in it. I love sailing around. I love doing the dumb things. I love finding the big octos. I love crossing off every single island. There's, it and part of it's that voice of like this could be so much better. But that voice, I feel like I only started having that voice when I got older and played it and saw all the repetitiveness of the map itself and some of the challenges that aren't side quests or storylines. And like that's why I think these things is because you see you're like, yeah, I'm doing this, but by the third or fourth time I've done it, it's like, okay, cool. I wish something else were here. I wish that they spent a little more time on this, and I
Mhm.
know why they didn't spend a little more time on it, and I've always known why. From the jump, we knew these were rushed games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The
like I'm gonna be negative on it, but it's also like one of my favorite Zelda games.
from a place of love.
Yeah.
I think I was explaining this like to somebody before, so I'll try to explain it again. But, like, for me personally, Ocarina of Time, when I think of that game, I can't think of necessarily a way that I would change the narrative of the game to make it better. I'm not saying the game is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I can't think of something I would want like put into like something I would like want to see in the game or something that I would change the narrative on versus like Tears of the
More
Kingdom and Wind Waker.
context.
Yeah. But like these two, like I just said, like Tears of the Kingdom, Wind Waker, obviously there's things that I would want us, throw in there and change the narrative. So I think like when you have that, like, oh, I would do this, then that leaves something to be desired in the story versus something like Ocarina of Time. It's like I don't think many people really there's nothing like, oh, I would do this in Ocarina of Time or anything like that. It's just it is what it is.
Mhm.
I think the childhood imagination played a big part in this game being phenomenal beyond belief.
Okay.
Because, like,
Mhm.
as we're saying, when we're older and the imagination isn't like playing the narrative for us, and we can clearly remember things in recent memory of like, oh, this is the same as all those other submarines I did. Whereas as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, another submarine! I wonder what I'm gonna get. You just like you go in, you have fun, you fight it. You're not thinking about like how does this compare to the other ones. You're just enjoying the experience in the moment, and your imagination is kind of creating it as you go. That's why as a kid, I didn't care at all about the story pretty much. Like I mean it was cool that there was a story, but like I just like playing the game. Playing the game and the
Mhm.
gameplay was all that mattered to me as a kid. And it's still mostly what matters about it to me now, but I can definitely take a step back and think, yeah, like there's a lot of stuff that's repetitive that I did not remember from the last time I played this game, over a decade ago. And like the repetitive nature to it, the fact that the story just kind of doesn't line up past a certain point. And I think the reason that we like loved this game so much as a kid was because we were a kid. And while it's still a
Yeah.
great game, it's not everything that at least I thought it was. Like especially the ghost ship that I keep going back to, not to keep harping, but like as a kid, my imagination went nuts with that because I was expecting so much more than what was delivered. And I feel like a lot of this game, beyond the actual gameplay, which is still really fun, is chalked up to that childhood imagination kind of adding the flair that the game didn't have past a certain point in a lot of areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of
I
like
like
how I used to like cotton candy ice cream, right? Like I just like the intense sweetness of it and like the flavor reminded me of the fair and whatever. But as I got older, it was like that's just a little too much. Like I want something that's a little more sophisticated.
I don't
uh
my
yeah.
child brain is just like, "Oh, this will give me all the sugar. Like this is giving me more sugar than normal, so this is my favorite." That's why kids like Papa John's.
Children's taste buds tend to absolutely love that sugar.
We do.
I like the point you're making about like I think you're right, like as kids our imagination starts filling in gaps, and I think no matter what game it is, like we were doing this for like my friends and I for like Star Fox 64, like trying to create our own like what we thought the backstory of Fox's dad's team was, or like what was Fox's team doing, last year, or coming up with like how Fox and Bill, what their relationship would have been like, and I think even we were doing that in this season with talking about Coral and Coral's like, royalistic mafia and um kind of making, filling in gaps ourselves. But I think as like kids, you're doing it more to the game's benefit. Whether the game is good or bad doesn't matter if you like the game. Um, you're coming up with these things and like they're enhancing your experience with the game. And as adults, you can still have that, I think. But, for what we were doing, we were having fun kind of poking at the seams that were coming apart in front of us, like in a loving way almost. But yeah, not like we weren't giving the game the benefit of the doubt the way we did as kids.
Yeah.
And just the way the kids do it too. It's kind of like subconscious as a kid. And when as an adult, it feels like you have to focus on that a little more. Like as a kid, you just like it's coming up in your head and it's kind of mixing in with the gameplay as you're doing it. And then as you get older, that kind of like cements itself and you think that's what it was because you couldn't as easily draw the line as a kid with a not fully developed brain.
You have to be aware of it, or else you just
Yeah. It's kind of like how when you wake up with a dream and you feel like that dream was reality, but you know it was a dream. That's almost like it's that mixing of what reality and make believe is, but it's harder to draw that line when you're a kid. It's not as cemented, you know.
It's getting lost in the sauce.
A little bit, yeah.
All right.
You made me remind. I went over Austin Plays YouTube channel. I think at some point this season. I don't remember what episode, but it's kind of like his videos and like I think how I don't know if he plays games like this like on a regular basis, but he goes into games and looks for immersion. And I take it as like almost an imagination. Like he goes to the places that the developers made and no one gives a flying hoot about that you probably wouldn't notice in Wind Waker, just like the little subtle details like, hey, look, there's a cup on this bench and things like that. And like that's the kind of thing that gets you immersed in the actual game. And I think there's
Miyamoto
plenty of
was
that.
good at that.
Hmm. I think there's plenty of that in this game if you look for it. But again, like you said, if you're not really paying attention to it and just kind of going through it as an adult when you can, you kind of lose it.
Yeah, I think his balance of, the why is this rock there, the why is this cup there, of, put things in places that make sense so that people don't notice. That, it is part of the world. It is, it's natural. It belongs there.
Nice.
Why is this triangle piece in a chest at the bottom of the ocean?
Why is that triangle piece there? Because hurry.
Where would you think it would be?
hurry.
On top of the ocean?
Why is this blue coin in Super Mario Sunshine? Because hurry. That's why. I will never stop harping on those blue coins. I hate those blue coins a lot.
They're not great.
All right. So blue coins aside, guys, we've now played 7 games as a part of this podcast. We started with Ocarina of Time. We moved on to A Link to the Past.
Skyward Sword.
And Skyward Sword. Was Skyward Sword second or third?
It was season 2.
It was season 2. Skyward Sword was season 2. All right. So A Link to the Past was 3. Then we played the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And then we went to the Minish Cap, and now we're here at Wind Waker for our 7th season. And so now we have 7 games to rank. Last time we did this, our lists were pretty similar. I don't want to go through what our lists were because I feel like that'll kind of introduce maybe some bias or some repetitiveness that we don't need right now. But I know that we could probably start at the bottom and work our way up.
It might be a little easier.
Yeah. So if we all want to share our 7s and just give like a very brief description of why you put it there. I think maybe as we get to like the top 2 or 3, we can start trying to talk a little bit more about why we like those games. But just for the sake of time, 4 people, 7 games, that's a lot of spiels. So thinking maybe we could just keep it brief. Let's see, we got 4 of us. But I would just go me, Mayo, Luigi, Cam. So I'll start with my number 7. So at my number 7, I have Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh.
And everybody knows why I don't like this game. The story in this one was a robbery. Actually, it was actually really bad, and every time we got any kind of history, it was the exact same thing. So just for that reason alone, I think that tells you enough. Tears of the Kingdom's at the bottom. It knows what it did.
knows what it is. Well, mine is not that one. Mine is Minish Cap. That's not to say the Minish Cap is a bad game. I mean, nothing could be a bad game if Bob Hachi is in the game. I mean, let's be real.
Apache.
Um,
Bob Hachi.
for me, I think it was just like the pacing, and this might be more personal. I didn't feel when I was like playing it that I was like excited to play it. I was sort of like it was like almost like a task or a job to play it for the cast. Not to say I didn't enjoy the game because I enjoyed playing it, but it was like sort of more of a task than enjoyment. So that's why it's at the bottom.
All right.
My my bottom game is Skyward Sword.
Okay.
I I think it's fine as a you know as a game. It's a fine Zelda game. I don't know, 7 out of 10 maybe. Um, it's just it's not my least favorite 3D Zelda game, but it's like it's I like other 3D Zelda games better, and yeah, so
Okay.
it sits down here.
Gotcha.
My bottom barrel Zelda game out of this 7 choices is also Skyward Sword. For I guess like 4 or 5
Huge change
reasons.
up. All right. Sorry, go ahead.
Reason 1, I already don't really remember it,
There you go.
and I just played it for the first time 2 or 3 years ago. But I do remember a couple things I didn't like. I didn't like Fee and her annoyance, which was worse than Navi. I don't like
I
the
had an 80% chance you would say Fee, on my end. So
a the backtracking and going back to the same areas instead of introducing new areas was very meh. The parts where you had to go around and collect those tiers in that like sepia world and those things would chase after you. I just remember getting stuck on like one tier on each one I couldn't find and being stuck there for like 5 more minutes than I wanted to be, and that was annoying.
well, that game holds your hand, so
Fair.
there's easy ways to find where it is.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
Yeah, I agree with most of those things. Yes, as well. Also, the like final dungeon is a tile puzzle.
It is.
Be still my heart.
but it did
All right.
also have Groose, so like it's not
Groot's
all
pretty
bad.
Great.
Groot
pretty
is a
great.
redeeming factor for me on that one. All right.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So my number 6 here then is the Minish Cap. Good game, fun game. Again, I feel like the story kind of devolved into, hey, just do the thing. Where Eslo would just kind of be like, all right, next we need this, so just go to that corner of the map and get it. And be like, all right. It's a lot of fun. I mean, in terms of like 2D handheld Zelda games, it's tops. Like it's good quality, fun to play. But yeah, just was a little lacking. Number 6 for me.
Okay. So my number 6 is Wind Waker.
Oh wow! All right.
Yeah. So, getting it a little bit into why it's down here on number 6. Obviously, we just went over the story. Um, Not the best story. Didn't really feel immersed. I had to go and do more side quests to feel more immersed in the game. I didn't really like the weapons, I guess. I mean, they were okay. They weren't like as fun as some recent entries that we just had. Speaking like, Minish Cap and Tears of the Kingdom had a lot of fun, just gear that you can have. Um, and it just was so it's like I enjoy the ocean, and then after the second half of the game, I start to not like having to just drift. So there's just like a lot of things, the whole Triforce thing. Um, it felt like a chore in the second half of the game. Again, I'm kind of speaking on this like chore thing. So that's why it's down there for me.
I have chosen to put at number 6 A Link to the Past. And now,
Wow. All right.
listen,
Okay.
listen. I am admitting that this is because of how long it has been since I've played it. The few number I've only played it like 2.5 times, but when I got to the end of playing all of the Zelda games for my old show, I basically came to the conclusion that I hated Aonuma and loved Tezuka more than anything in the world, and decided that maybe I was wrong about A Link to the Past, and that the two games I needed to go back and play the most were, and I think I told Fonz, I told you this. I was like, I need to play A Link to the Past, and I need to play Wind Waker again, because I need to see if I have different feelings about them now than I did before I started the show. And so I really want to replay it, but the last time I played it, it also felt very much like a chore, like you were saying with Minish Cap. I was just playing it to get to the 3D games. Really, at that season, I was like, oh, this is the one that people older than me like. So maybe it's unfair, but this is where it is.
Okay. That's surprising, but I understand.
I'm gonna play it soon.
Nobody at Luigi.
Yeah. Like I said, I could absolutely be wrong, but the thing I came away from that show was like, yeah, I don't like many of the 3D Zelda games. I think I like the 2D ones better.
My number 6 is Tears of the Kingdom, for like all the reasons Fawn said, but on top of that, I really didn't like the frame drops that happened in it, especially during it's like activating Ultra Hand at any point was just like by 10 frames or more. I felt like that really got held back by the Switch's like decade-old hardware at that point. It was also around the time where I started to really get disillusioned with Nintendo as a whole, with their practices that they've been going with recently. So I kind of was viewing them in a more negative light at the same time. It felt like just a revisit to Breath of the Wild, where the map was just about as equally empty, and now there was a giant underground that was really empty too. Yay, more empty space. The Sky Islands were actually a lot of fun, but the rest of it was I didn't really think that the side quests were that great. They felt more like a chore to do than I wanted to do them. So yeah, that's why that's at close to the bottom.
All right. Okay. I'm not gonna argue with that. So my
The frame dropping sucks. Yes.
It does. Probably
So-
better on a PC with 60 FPS mod.
You'd hope
Probably.
so.
So my number 5 is Skyward Sword. It's it had a lot of good ideas in it, but it was just muddled with backtracking, and there's a lot of things about it that just didn't feel respective of my time. I guess.
Yeah.
It's respectful, I should say, but still, like, it's just like, I love the Groose story. I love a lot of the actual story beats that you come across in that one. I remember seeing it in a new light, playing it for the podcast, where before I used to like really not like that game. So I definitely give it more respect than I used to, but it's still a little lower on my list just for the amount of railroading that happens in it.
That's a great story.
Yeah,
Also, Bruce builds a railroad.
he does. Not the railroading I was talking about. I love the Gruesinator, don't get me wrong. But
yeah, no.
Let's see. We're on number 5. So my number 5 is Tears of the Kingdom. I think it's just probably down there on all of our lists. I guess to add something new that everyone else hasn't already said about the game is it opened really well, and then it just didn't add anything new past that opening. So once you leave the Great Plateau Island, it was just a reskinned Breath of the Wild. And so I think for people who this was like maybe their first Zelda game, or maybe not their first, but they've never played Breath of the Wild, this game would probably have knocked their socks off and been probably the best Zelda game that they've ever, touched. Coming from playing Breath of the Wild once on my own and then once for the podcast, so having played it 2 times in like a 2-year span before Tears of the Kingdom was a recipe for disaster and did not bode well. So that's why it's not number 5.
Right.
My number 5 is The Wind Waker, which I would say I think The Wind Waker was at like 4th or 5th overall for me when I played through all of them. So, I had my problems with it, but it settled in pretty nicely towards the top. And it may have slipped a little bit here. I think like in the moment right now, I made a list of the 7 games you guys have played, and I did this on the fly. I wanted to see how I felt about them. Just take 7 Zelda games and how do I feel about them? And right now I feel like Wind Waker has sunk to 5th out of these 7 for me.
Sunk like in the water.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it stayed
Good.
out there for like 30 seconds and then ran out of air.
Okay.
My number 5 is the Minish Cap. Yeah, like it was a good game, but I can't really say anything like stood out to me as being like phenomenal about it. It just felt like a good Zelda game. Like not bad, but not amazing. And I do have a little bit of nostalgia with it, but like nowhere near as much as a couple other ones. Like even when I was a kid and I played it on the Game Boy Advance, it was good, but it didn't really stick with me as I can't wait to play this again at some point. It was like I played this, all right, cool.
I'm glad I played that.
Yeah. It was a good experience. The dungeons are fun, but nothing really stood out to me as, this is amazing. I love this part about it. It was just a good Zelda game. And I'd say that I've never liked the Kinstone stuff at all. Ever. Stop making me collect stones and go up and press a button on NPCs to do some stupid thing. I don't really care. Thank you. Just let me get the item through a normal side quest. I don't like this feature at all.
I don't want to go whisper in everyone's ear, ask them if they have a kinstone.
Like if I go up to a guy and he's got a side quest, I want to just get the side quest. I don't want to go, oh, I don't have the blue kinstone I need for it. Let me go farm for a while. No, like just let me get the side quest. Like what is this unnecessary? The only part the kinstone
is the side quest.
No, bad. The only time it felt okay was the one part where you had to like get it to give to those 3 statue guys to open up a path to a dungeon. That felt like it should have been the extent of the kinstone system to me.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay. Strong kinstone feelings.
Indeed.
So my number 4, dead middle of my list here, is the Wind Waker.
Okay.
Like I said earlier in this episode, this game feels like riding a bike. Like it feels like home. I mean, 20 years ago, it was probably my favorite, but also back then I'd only really played Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker. And I was the kind of kid who enjoyed Wind Waker, like it was the newer game.
Good game.
After playing all the rest of these games and, having 2 more decades of gaming experience, it has fallen down quite a bit. And I don't think that means it's a bad game. I just think that it has some things lacking, good, fun game, just not as deep as I'd like it to be. It's a very shallow ocean, if you will.
I was going to make a pun if you weren't, but thank you.
All right.
Let's see. So my number 4 is Breath of the Wild. I honestly feel like this game would be at my top and maybe more people's tops if they just tried a teensy bit harder at making the overworld more cohesive and work a little bit better. I think the story, they nailed it. I think the shrines was a cool addition. I think the lack of dungeon and just spitting everything into a divine beast was not the way to go. I feel like if they even just had 4 dungeons with the 4 divine beasts and still even maybe had the divine beasts, the game would probably be at the top for me. I think it was just that lack of dungeon and, like, kind of what was wrong with Tears of the Kingdom with not having a filled in world with just why it's so low. Well, it's not even low, it's number 4. But yeah.
I think it's tragic if like the game leads you to the Zora part first, and then the Zora part like has this really cool story, and like Mifa's really venerated, and like you get to learn a lot about her, and you're like, cool. All the other areas are going to be like this, and now they're not.
Yeah.
Oh man, man.
Yeah, that does happen.
Like, the Rito area is so sad, and I wanna like it because I wanna like them, but there's, like, nothing there.
Right.
Um. So yeah, my number 4 is the Minish Cap. Um. Like we were saying, like I like I like the Wind Waker a lot. I like the Minish Cap a lot. They're very, very close in my heart. They're both very like around that came out around the same time. Played them both a lot. Like them both a lot. I think Minish Cap is a perfect bite-sized little Zelda experience. I think it suffers from having a lot of like story checks that you have to get to that gate the world around you, and the world feels very large for the small map that you're given, but also a little claustrophobic until you can finally open up all of it. But I love kinstones. I love kinstone fusing. I will not be apologetic about it. It is fun to me.
Hilarious.
I also think it's funny that you just have to like rub up against everybody like, hey, you got a stone. It just I think it's hilarious. I like doing it. I think it's a fun way to have things just pop up in the world. So yeah, it's a weird game to rando. I know that much, but yeah, I like the stories. I like the boss fights. I like a lot of the dungeons. I think the final boss fight is insanely long and intricate and still kind of fun and a kind of challenge we don't always get. And I thank Capcom for that.
Agree to disagree about kinstones.
We found who the kinstones were made for.
Love kinstones.
Cam, what's your 4?
My 4 is one that was already mentioned. It is the Wind Waker. While it is a very good game, my playthrough of it for this podcast has shown me how much of it was true from my memory and how much of it was that benefit of the doubt / overactive imagination of being a kid. While I think that Breath of the Wild not Breath of the Wild, I think that Wind Waker potentially has the best raw swordplay combat. Like I honestly think that the raw swordplay with like the introduction of the like the reactive dodge system is actually like on par with, if not better than, even the raw swordplay of like Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. If you were to take out like all the fancy stuff you can do by like getting some grass on fire and going up in the air and slow-mo shooting bomb arrows and that kind of crazy stuff, and you take it just down to your sword and shield versus the enemy. Like I really like the Wind Waker's take on that, and I love the graphics. It's one of the things, and one of the reasons why Breath of the Wild I still haven't mentioned yet is because that cartoony, cel-shaded art style is like one of my favorite art style directions you could take in a game. Like I know that a lot of people back when Wind Waker came out, like, what's this cartoony crud? I don't want. Rubber. As a kid, I was like, yeah, I could use more of this. Yeah, you could put some more of this in there. Like, so you want to make the next 10 Zelda games like this? I ain't gonna hear nothing from me about it.
Yeah, we were all fans of cell shading. Like let's play some more cell damage or that David Duchovny shooter. Like I was into the cell shaded stuff. Yeah,
Great art style.
yeah.
All right. So that brings us to our top 3s, everybody.
Ooh.
In 3rd place, I have Breath of the Wild. If you had asked me about Breath of the Wild back when we started recording this podcast, I would not have ever guessed that it would be this high up. I think what fixed it for me was watching the memories in order and actually seeing that there was a cohesive story that made some kind of sense.
Yeah.
Because before doing that and just watching them all in whatever random order I found them, it was real bad. I was like, what is this game that I'm playing? Why can't it just like focus? It's like I just feel like we're going in every direction and we don't really have a reason. But playing it and seeing it in that way, kind of realizing how the different champions that you meet along the way are kind of like a found family story happening in front of you. There's some actual like depth to the game that I really appreciate. I know that some of the bigger complaints about like the dungeons are just big machines that you gotta puzzle box out of, and it's not really a dungeon, which I agree with. I think that is a hard spot on the game. But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was necessarily like missing too much in terms of like there was a lot of environment to explore. There were a lot of like honestly just landscapes to take in. Like I could sit on top of a mountain and just look around and be amazed a lot of times, which is saying something for a game. I mean, I know for 2017 especially that was saying something, but like, yeah, no, I appreciate the game. It set out to do something, and I think that it was very successful with that. Not my number one, but also a lot higher on the list than I would have thought before we got into all this.
Okay. So for my number 3, it is going to be Skyward Sword. I think I'm the only one who still had that one left. So for me, I'm not gonna sit here and condone the backtracking. Obviously that's like something that I also disagreed with and didn't like. For me, why this is so high is because of the world design. So for me, it feels like what a linear Breath of the Wild would be. You kind of feel the bones of Breath of the Wild in
Yeah.
this game. And I think the world building is probably one of my favorites in the entire series, if I'm gonna be honest. Just the locations that you go to, the dungeons, like the ancient cistern, were beautifully made. The sand ship was one of my favorites. The puzzles in this game felt fresh, didn't feel like copied or didn't feel lazy like some of the shrine puzzles in Breath of the Wild.
Yo.
And then I want to say Link and Zelda and the other characters in this. I feel like this has been, and I don't remember much about Twilight Princess, so I could be off here, but I feel like this is one of the only games that actually really developed the characters and gave them more emotion. And even Link not talking in this, he had emotion that he showed in like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So I think for me, having that relationship where Link and Zelda and Groose and all the other characters, like they had emotions, they had more than just a few things on screen. So I think all that for me layered this into number 3.
I think it's the one Zelda game where like the story is like easily the strongest part of the game. And that's not always true.
Yeah.
For Zelda games, usually you're like, well, the gameplay and the design and these like when I think of Skyward Sword, I'm like, no, the story. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah, it's a super strong story. Also, I forgot to mention, but I feel like this is something that's like overlooked, but the whole like angle of like where you like strike your sword at like angle to like try to fight monsters was super cool, I think. Where it's like you got to cut
Yeah,
like
we're talking about
horizontal or
raw sword play.
Hmm?
So Cam was talking about raw sword play earlier, and I'm like, I mean, we didn't even talk about Skyward Sword's raw sword play.
Yeah, super cool. Not fun on a I guess controller, but on a Wii remote, super fun.
Pretty sure I played it on a controller, so
Yeah.
I don't think I've
on the Wii.
experienced that, but I've seen it done, and it kind of looks like a combination of a quick action event in combat where it's like, oh, I'm gonna hit you from this way, and then you have 0.5 seconds to hit them from the other way. I mean, it is more interesting, but I mean, it doesn't really change up much from that. But then again, the Wind Waker is also just, press A now. But I don't know. I like the little animation of him going, yeah, and rolling around and stuff.
Waker is helped a lot by the items also helping you with your sword play, I think. Like, having a boomerang and having other stuff on your hands to be like, okay, shut this thing up over here so that I can parry this thing and then deal with that thing when it's done, being stunned for a little bit, or, it's a beautiful balance in Wind Waker, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got at number 3, my former favorite Zelda game of all time, Ocarina of Time. I know this game better than any other video game, probably, except for maybe like, I don't know, Mario World or Mario 64. But know like the back of my hand. Used to have friends call me late at night, like, back in middle school, to be like, I'm stuck, and I would give them, like, walk them through where they were, like, tell them what was in all the chests and which ones not to open. Like, I have a very, very deep connection to that game. I don't know. It's just, it was eventually overtaken, and I think that's fine.
All right.
It's I like it better than Majora's Mask. I think people like Majora's Mask better than Ocarina because they want to be cool.
Okay.
And that's it.
My
Cool.
number 2 is Breath of the Wild.
Woo!
A lot of it comes down to the experience of the first time I played it, which was like, I wasn't even planning on getting a Switch. I didn't even know that the Switch was coming out, and I just made like a 2 days before it released decision to go and wait in line at Walmart for a midnight release. Got Breath of the Wild. I just got like a new, better television that had such great colors that it really made the game pop, where I played it a lot in docked mode. I believe I was talking to like Fonz and Anthony and like maybe even my friend Casey like about the game as I was playing through it, so it almost had like that nostalgic going into school the next day and like talking to your friends about what you played the last night and stuff, except it wasn't go into school, but it was just like such a good game that we kept up with each other about what we were doing, so it had like that same similar feeling. The combat changes, like I mentioned earlier, how you can just like, oh, there's some grass there. Let me just pop a fire arrow on that grass, fly up in the air. I got one bomb off cooldown, throw that over here, freeze this dude in time, drop back down, kill this guy, that dude just unfroze. So like right before he did, I hit him once to knock him over. Like just the amount of things you can do in the combat of Breath of the Wild compared to like a more linear, especially like a 2D Zelda game, is just off the charts. And I'm always somebody that heavily enjoys combat in games, the parts where I'm just like, reacting to the things and coming up with strategies on the fly for how to deal with what's in front of me.
Nice.
And yeah, like that's why I really liked Breath of the Wild. And it was cool going through the, arguably kind of empty Hyrule for the first time, at least. Like, even though a lot of it didn't feel like it was very fleshed out, like just running over an empty hill with some trees on it in a Zelda game where it looked pretty was like enough for me at that point. But playing through it, like, I have a feeling that as time goes on, it's probably going to drop farther in my list, because I don't think that a lot of the things that I remember about it that put it at the top 3 right now are something that could be replicated if I were to just play it like right now.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So that brings us to number 2 then. My number 2 game is A Link to the Past. I had not played this game until at least 2020, maybe 2021. And I did not realize just how much I would like it when I played it. I remember the first time playing through it, I found it incredibly difficult, but still very addictive. Got its hooks in me, almost like a Dark Souls game. Like I'd lose to bosses and be like, you know what, we're gonna try again. Like we can do it this time.
Real, man.
After learning the game some more, I found it to be in my best interest just to go get some of like the cheater items, like the Cane of Burna. It just destroys bosses for me, so I don't really have to think about it too much. But even without that, just when I think of like Zelda 1, Zelda 2, like original, like what was the concept of Zelda? Like this game seems to be the pinnacle of that concept of like, hey, we have this dungeon puzzle that you're going to go through. It's going to represent the surrounding area. It's going to have some specific item that either helps you with the boss or it's like going to unlock most of the dungeon.
You might even miss that item. You could go completely different way, still get through the dungeon.
Yeah, it's got some of the most iconic
which is
pixel
cool.
art as well. Like it's very well made. It still holds up today, and I really appreciate it for what it is. And yeah, just discovering it later on and being like, wow, this has the heart of the series. It's just really stand out.
Yeah. The thing I think about when I think about older Zelda games is those are the games where like I leave dungeons. Like I have to leave the dungeon and then come back. Like I just got tore up. I barely know left from up, and I need to be able to so you slowly deal with them. They're much harder. They're more challenging. You can get lost. They're not as fair, and I like them a lot. I like them so much better than the 3D ones.
Yeah. Cool. I don't have anything else to say about it, but all right. What's your number 2?
All right. So I think this my list has changed. So I'll get into a little bit of why when I cover the number one. But my number two is OOT, the Ocarina of Time.
Ew.
This game's legendary. I mean, come on. Like, pretty sure that even if you don't even know
Come on.
video games or even play video games, like I'm sure somebody in your life has played this game or at least has mentioned Zelda. And this is the game that people I think visualize when that happens. In fact, I think there's a movie coming out and I'm pretty sure that that movie was based off of this story. Legendary story, legendary gameplay. Not much left to be desired in this game, if anything. I mean, I can come play through this game at any point and love it, and I think we all can here, and that's, I think, what just makes a good game. I mean, I don't have much else to say about it. There's, like, a few things maybe that I'm like, I don't care to do, but the game, like, gives you the opportunity to not force you to do it. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like, when I play this, I don't really do the fishing thing anymore. I don't, like, go over and do, like, the mask thing anymore. Like, I just kinda, like, straight shot and enjoy the game, and I think the game sets you up really nicely, to be able to do all that.
All right.
Good game.
It is a
Mhm.
good game.
I think this is the first time that Ocarina has slipped out of number 2 for me.
Hmm.
And that I'm ready to say that my number 2 Zelda game is Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice.
I I've been replaying Breath of the Wild lately, and I haven't mentioned that either. And it's fine. It's my favorite Zelda game. And I feel about Tears of the Kingdom a lot of times the way I feel about Majora's Mask, where why don't I like it as much as I should, or not should, as much as I do with Majora? It plays just like my favorite video game, which was Ocarina at the time. And I think there are things about Tears that there were shortcomings I had, a lot of them story based, but I didn't really. Breath of the Wild story is my least favorite thing about Breath of the Wild anyway. And but when I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently, and I love it, and I love that game, and there are just things that I'm like, God, it would be so nice to have Tolan right now. Or, God, it would be so nice to stick anything I want to an arrow. Oh, it would be so nice to like have this or that or this little thing. Or, oh, I want to kill a Lionel right now, and I know where 5 of them are. They're in a coliseum in the underground. Because I love the underground, and I know it's mostly empty, but I love it. And I played this game for a show. We spent like 25 episodes plus some other stuff in there covering it. I played it for like 300 hours and I had my problems with it, but I just really, and I took a year off from Breath of the Wild before it came out. I knew something just told me like, we're just going to put Breath of the Wild away. I know it's your forever game. I know it's the game that you just go back to for comfort, but we're going to put it away. And I think maybe that helped, but yeah, there's just like it lingers. There's something about it. I love it. It plays like Breath of the Wild. There's enough things, new things in there that I like. I wish there were more old mini bosses scattered around, like giant dragons and Lionels and things like that. But I loved the Froxes and the weird things they added to it. And yeah, I'm real into the games. It's like unapologetically love them. They're great. I'm sorry.
You don't gotta apologize, man. That's okay.
But do you like CC though?
CC, what? Oh wait.
The mushroom
The CC is
fashionista?
the mushroom lady. No, well, okay, here's the thing. The hat piece, hate it. The makeup, the earrings, I'm into that. Like the hair, like the little bit of the hair covering the face, like I'm kind of into that too. To get rid of the hat. Yeah. I'm here for the clothes. Absolutely.
He likes the Sia aspect of CC, not the
Yeah.
not the mushroom aspect.
Hanging from the
much.
chandelier part.
Yeah. Also, there's cheese. Like, hey, there's cheese now.
We made
Go
cheese.
wild.
We invented cheese. Well, we didn't invent it. Someone else invented it, but we get to bring it to the public.
Yeah. And like on the episode where we were talking about Hateno, I was just like, guys, there's cheese now. And they're like, does it do anything? And I was like, well, it does things for my brain. Now I'm like, okay, what else can I make? Like the paella wasn't special, but I love paella. And there was paella in Breath of the Wild. And they're like, is there a reason why you're excited about this? And I'm like, because I love paella. Shut up and let me have this. There's cheese now. Thank you.
All right.
Make a pizza.
Real quick side tangent before we get to your thing, Cameron, because I just thought of this and now I have to say it. I feel like if I would love Tears of the Kingdom more if they didn't do Bolson so dirty. I don't care about the Zonai. I don't care about the story pieces that never happened that people were like hoping. Why'd you do Bolson like that? Come on. Like why? That was my biggest travesty with that.
So anyway, Cam, what's your two?
A Link to the Past, baby.
All right.
All right.
The dungeons are great. The gameplay I still feel very fondly for because like I played that. It was one of the first Zelda games I ever played back on the Game Boy Advance when I was a kid, so it's got a special place in my heart. It was definitely like the early Zelda game that stuck with me because I'm pretty sure I played that before Ocarina of Time, which I didn't play until the GameCube. So this was like I played ages and hit like I think a soft lock point in the final dungeon at one point, and I played Minish Cap a little afterwards, I think, but that didn't stick with me as much. A Link to the Past, I loved it. Like the dungeons were phenomenal. That was definitely like the highlight. I loved going to the Dark World and seeing the whole map flipped and all like I memorized the routes for how you can get around the map and where you have to go in each area because like there's this block and this and this block and this. So I got to take this route, and then it was all changed up and thrown on its head. Some parts were like flooded now. It felt like a second map in a game that was before its time of games having like a second map or having like a redo of a map kind of scenario. It was also like one of my first times of experiencing that.
A Mode 7 PNG.
Hey.
Or, whatever file that you're just zooming around. Yeah. This is the best we could do.
All right.
And yeah. It pretty much covers it. It feels like it's a game I could literally just open and start a new file of any point and probably play it for an hour and just have fun and then go back to it like a couple days later or a week later or something and just keep playing through it bit by bit till I beat it.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to our number ones, which at this point will be a surprise to nobody because we've already named all the other ones. So
Wasn't keeping track.
Right. So my number one game is Ocarina of Time. It's hard for me to ever picture this game not being my number one. First Zelda game I truly owned and played. Had it on the GameCube when I got the GameCube. Came with it. It was, the bonus disc. I started last year learning some like speed running techniques, but I'm not a speedrunner.
Yeah.
I don't have any of them like on lock. It's just certain minor skips that I've practiced and stuff like that. But it's
you learn how to do an extended super slide.
not yet. I mean, I know how it's done, but I'm not good at doing it.
Yeah.
So so that's stuff like that. I find it to be very interesting. The story is tops. Like, I feel like when this game was made, it was before they had their own games to just reference back to the entire time. So they actually like pulled in a lot of external influence and references to other media. It just seems like a game that was way more crafted and way more intentional and way more I don't know, artistic in a way. So I like that play. The game holds a really special place for me because of all of that. Between the nostalgia and just the respect that I have for how it was made. The only game that I think is going to challenge it, if I'm just being candid, is Majora's Mask. And not because Majora's Mask is cooler, but because I think that there's a lot of tie-ins that, like, Majora's Mask just doesn't work if you don't consider Ocarina of Time. So, like, I think that relationship is going to create some good discussion later when we finally get to that game. But for now, Ocarina of Time is probably going to be sitting pretty at number one for me until we get there.
Nice. All right. So I'm a simple man with simple needs. And
Preach.
preach. Uh, I have not played this number one up until a few years ago. I somehow glossed over it. This is coming from the person who at 4 years old was playing Zelda 1 and at 5 was perusing through the dungeons of Zelda 2, which I don't know any 5-year-old that is capable of beating Zelda 2. So I'm like a lover of the old stuff, and I somehow never played this one until a few years ago, and it knocked my socks off. It's a link to the past. It honestly feels like if this game came out today, like this year or last year, as like an indie dev on Steam, it would be one of those like like overwhelmingly positive 100,000 plus reviews kind of games. It's just super simple, super quaint. The story is amazing. The combat is crisp. The music is beyond most Zelda titles, I feel. I mean, honestly, the music in this game is pretty much what crafted every game that came after it and the theme of the music for the most part. Um So yeah, and then just to top everything off, this game is responsible for the Mothula boss fight, and that's legendary.
I remember you despising that boss fight, actually.
You know, I'm a Dark Souls guy, and that fight just it's like they just left it in there. Like that's magic. They just left it in there as is. They made it. They knew what it was, and then they just published it. That's amazing. That confidence level is amazing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm actually thinking about probably retrying this game soon on like a stream, or just going through it myself because I want to go through it again on my own time.
Nice.
Yeah, I hear that. My favorite Zelda game is Zelda 2. Um, Speaking of giant Mothula fights, that end boss is stupid. No, but I mean, Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game, and it's very primordial. It brings me back to being a 4-year-old getting through just wandering Zelda 1. I never had Zelda 2. I don't think I didn't find the first dungeon or anything like that, but I would just stumble around Zelda 2. I love Zelda 2 now, but Zelda 1, that was just a game I had, and it was a constant, and I loved exploring that, even though it was way above my pay grade. And Breath of the Wild it's just that. It feels like that. There, it is why we started, making a Zelda show. And in a lot of the things that Cam was saying was like being able to like talk to people, having like a group of people that were also playing it to bounce ideas off of, and playground, stories, and just be like share a picture of the first time like 3 stall moblins popped out of and I've got 4 hearts, and I'm just barely off the Great Plateau and eking out a survival, and like these guys show up for the first time, and like you like that moment of sending it to your friends and them being like no way. And yeah, and like I'm, like I said before, I'm not like even the biggest fan of the story of Breath of the Wild. I think it fumbles a lot of things. But I don't care. It's the feeling of being at home. It's the thing I put back on like when I just want to chill, and I don't even start a new file. I play the same, unless I'm playing on master mode, I play the same file as I did when I first played it, when I got my Switch when it came out. And yeah, there's just I don't care. That game is home. And it will always feel that way. And even at the time, it made me think of like the Great Sea and how homey that feels to me, like being on the Great Sea. And I don't know, I equate the two, that sense of solitude, that sense of exploration. And yeah, that's what I play when I need to relax and feel comfy.
All right.
Let me share with you one of the stories that lives rent free in my head about Breath of the Wild, real quick, Luigi. It's a really short
Okay.
one, but I approached a pool of water only for, unbeknownst to me that they even existed in the game, a massive green dragon to just fly headfirst into the water and
Yes.
disappear. And my heart like kind of skipped a beat because of how big that thing is. As someone that might have just a tinge of megalophobia, of like stuff that's really, really, really big, kind of me find scary. Like I saw that in the game and I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. Just the first time I saw one of those dragons, and it was really close to me, right in front of me, came down out of the top of my screen, out of nowhere, eclipsed me in size. It was great.
My favorite part, my favorite area in the game is the very top of the map, kind of off to the east. And it's that big, long path along the canyon. There's like 3 Lionels back there, and I love just going back there, getting on my motorcycle, and killing those 3 Lionels. And sometimes Dinral, the fire one, that's also where I go to hunt Dinral stuff. And he'll just fly down from the heavens while I'm fighting a Lionel, and he'll be in the background, and it's cinematic and it's beautiful. And I just love that game.
Yeah,
I just love it so damn much.
There are things about Breath of the Wild. I mean, now that we're all talking about Breath of the Wild, I do love when you're randomly gliding and all of a sudden you hear the dragon music and you're like, wait, what? You like turn the camera and there it is with you, and you're like, oh,
friend.
All right.
Give me a horn piece so I can either make the best potion in the world or sell the most expensive thing in the game. Friend. Yeah, I don't care. I spent so many hours hunting those things down. It took forever, and I didn't feel bad or annoyed or at any point. I was just like in my game on top of the dueling mountain, the dueling peaks, camped waiting for Stardust or waiting for dragons, or I don't know. I could play that game forever.
Well, I guess that just leaves my number one, huh?
The Wand of Gamelon.
How did you know? It's because Link takes diet pill. No.
That game is a diet pill.
So me and Fonz pretty much have had the same 4 and down. So I'm also sitting here with the Ocarina of Time as my top because that was like probably the first 3D game that I remember playing that was like an RPG but not a turn-based one that just blew my mind with how much fun it was. And having my previous experiences with Ages and this was before I touched any Final Fantasy games really. There weren't too many games that I was playing that I had a backstory with, games that I already like knew about and knew the characters and I'd already played entries. Like there were some Pokemon games, but I don't think those had quite got up to like a good 3D and it wasn't like seeing it on a screen versus a handheld, like a television screen. So seeing the jump from A Link to the Past, which I had a blast with, to Ocarina of Time, and the 3D elements, the great music, the dungeons were phenomenal. The fact that you went from like playing as a kid, where when you had the Hyrule Shield, you had to bend over and tilt your guy to like block fireballs and stuff, to being an adult with the Master Sword wielding that shield that was so cumbersome to you before, just like it's nothing. The story was great. The little things that, like, if you never just wound up in Hyrule Field at night, you wouldn't know that the skeletons just pop out just endlessly trying to attack you. There's like so many little things, like the Bigoron quest, which isn't necessarily fun to do, but when you get the sword, it's great. It's just there's so many good things in that game. Like and for some reason, I love the Forest Temple. I don't know why. I remember it being a challenge as a kid, but at this point, for some reason, the fact that it was a challenge then, like I feel excited going into it more than any other dungeon in that game. And like
it still gives me the chills.
And seeing Link fly forward with a hook shot for the first time ever and feeling like I could challenge the Z axis with my own hook shot in this game, like it was great. And it's just like A Link to the Past where I feel like I could just pop up Ocarina of Time, play through the first dungeon, maybe get over to Death Mountain, and then pick up the next time and again and just beat it. And there's a lot of games that I can start and I'll play it for an hour or two and then I'm just like, yeah, that's enough of that. But like A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time, if I start them up, I can just keep playing them. Like they're not a game that I'm like, all right, I got my fill of the nostalgia or whatever, I'm done. I can just play those games.
It is weird thinking back on like the first few times I'd seen Ocarina of Time played, and kind of what I felt and thought, and just what it was like looking at it when you didn't know everything in the game, versus now when I think about the game and I'm like, hey, like I kind of know it forward and backwards, but like it's still good. It's still worth going back to even with all that. It's just timeless.
It's one of the most important video games in my entire life. It changed what I thought a video game could be, what it could do, what kind of story it could tell, and like how it could involve me emotionally in that story. Like, video games have had great stories before. I'm not saying it's the first greatest story, but like it's the game that taught me like no, like this is different. Like you are going to you're going to think about things differently from like here on out. And I had played the crap out of a bunch of stuff up to that point. Like Mario 64. Mario 64 maybe was like the thing that cracked the door open, where the first time we played it, we were just like, this is absolutely unreal. I do not think we were ready to play this. Like just for this concept that Mario can go anywhere now. And yeah, Ocarina is super important. It's very both to me and just like to video games.
Yeah. Been thinking every once in a while about the fast travel system in Ocarina of Time and how it's just never been done again for some reason. Because like you like having to like play a song that's specific to an area.
Oh, Whereas later they would just play one song.
Or you just open your map and click where you want to go.
Yeah.
You know?
It was like,
Yeah.
you got to remember the songs.
Right. I mean, if
Or go to
it
your
would be,
pause
it would have
menu.
been really special if like you could learn the songs before you actually like learn them through a cutscene and just were able to use them because you knew them already.
Mhm.
I feel like that would have
Yeah.
been something cool, but they didn't do that.
Or if you played the Simpsons theme song in it, that it would like do something. Yeah.
You just get a donut.
Wow. No, but like
True story.
it's like
Not the donut, just someone playing the Simpsons theme for me.
each chapter of that game, you would run into Sheik. They would like spit some poetry at you, teach you some music, and like introduce
Drop
the
some
next
harp
section
solos
of the
on you.
game. And it's like, man, games need more poetry. Like,
Mhm.
I want to be playing like, you know, I don't know, some other game. Say like
This
Death
would be a
Stranding
good
or something. Well,
transition.
that's not a good example. They do nonsense all the time in Death Stranding, but you know what I mean? Like,
There's
whatever. Just give me an adventure where
Yeah.
somebody stops me every once in a while to spit some poetry at me and introduce the next chapter.
Well, you don't like Eslo?
Eslo doesn't, he's not a poet.
He spits
Eslo's a
bars,
cranky
man.
old man.
He tells you about dreams he's had. Eslo says the most wild stuff.
He
It's
does
great.
say random stuff in and out of the
If you just
dungeon.
mash select because you think you're hitting the start button and you're like, I talked to Eslo again. Eventually you're going to be like, ooh, I talked to Eslo again.
You cannot tell me that Eslo and Sheik are anywhere near on the same level of
No.
exposition. But I don't know, just
That's a good
thinking about that,
transition
how
to-
like there's so many different art styles just kind of thrown at you in that game. Like, hey, it's not just a story, it's also a song, and it's also a poem, and it's also like this whole crazy thing. And it's like, wow, you guys really thought about this.
be a good transition into picking out favorite Zeldas, Links, and Ganons, because if we're including like Sheik, Ocarina of Zelda is pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we wanting to do that still? We've been recording for about an hour and 40 minutes, so
Yeah.
I was
wanted
gonna
to
say
put out a feeler.
of just trimming it down to your favorite 3 and your worst 3 for time's sake.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. Do we just want to like present our entire lists all at once, or how do we want to do that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah, this is tough.
Cool. I haven't thought about this before this very moment too much. I know my favorites.
We were talking about it a little before.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Well, I guess I
I'm
can
gonna
go if you
Oh.
want, and then you guys can formulate.
All right, yeah. How about you kick
Hmm.
off, and then I'll try to finish up my list here.
All right. So for me, I think, and by the way, this comes into an encompassment of every single villain and Zelda and Link iteration from like all
So
the
not
games. So if you
necessarily
want to talk about
Ganondorf.
Vati, then
Okay.
you can talk about Vati if you want.
Okay.
I don't know why anyone would want to talk about Vati, but
I figured
you
we were
know.
gonna. So we can talk about the dude with 2 hats and spirit tracks.
Yeah.
Cole, I think his name is Cole.
Pretty cool boss theme though. At least from what I remember. At least I think so.
In that game.
So my favorite 3, I'm gonna say, is the Ocarina of Time Ganon. I just feel like he had everything on lock. He had a plan from the
Yeah.
moment we see him through the window, to where you hear about him to the exact. He had a plan even when you were like fighting him, when he was like playing piano, making his entrance. When you walk into his little, I don't even know, his room, his dormitory, I don't know what you would call it. So just that Ganon was scary. He had the vibes to be evil. He's like the Darth Vader of Zelda. He's got the vibes of being like this evil genius. So he's top
He's
for
looming
me.
too.
Yeah.
Like you see him. You don't like, a lot of other Ganons you don't see till like the very end. And like he's always there. And like, we're talking about him, or you just missed him, or he sent his people, or like, yeah. I second him probably being my favorite Ganondorf or Ganon.
Yeah. It's even like he accomplished his goal too. Like most Ganons don't get
Hmm.
there. Like he got what he wanted pretty much. I mean, if it wasn't for
Kind
Link,
of.
yeah,
I think he was expecting it the whole Triforce, but yeah, he basically
he
was like, all
subjugated
right,
the nation.
whatever. All my enemies are gone.
So yeah, top for me. Zelda is also from that game the top for me as well, because she's just pretty sure this was like one of the few times I think like maybe outside of a few other games like we just finished Wind Waker. She was like pretty useful in Wind Waker. Um,
Mm.
I'd say not pretty useful, just somewhat useful. But yeah, and obviously we were just talking about how she spits poetry as Sheik, and she hid for these like 7 years as a Sheikah, um, warrior, and was eluding Ganon this entire time to benefit Link, and I just think that's so cool. And then at the very end, like having her like running with it was just so cool having her, and that she's like the best Zelda of all time for me. And then this probably is not everyone's opinion, but the Skyward Sword Link for me is my favorite. He just had a lot of depth and a lot of like, I guess, character development in that story. Not to say the other links don't have any of that, but it's just like theatrically, I guess, for he was my favorite Link. He's, I think, the most cool Link. He's got
Okay.
the vibes to be Link. He's like the epitome of Link for me. I mean, granted, he's also the
Okay.
first Link, I guess. So, yeah.
Sure.
They let you
Um,
make decisions about, like how you want to react a few times in that game. Like, do you want to
Mm-hmm.
be snarky? Do you want to like be like, we don't have time for
mhm,
this? Do you want to be like, let's both do our jobs and get out of here? Like
exactly.
sort of things like that. And, it's really The Skyward Sword Link and Zelda are really, 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 really great.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree with that.
Um, and then for my worst, so Minish Cap is gonna take my Zelda and Link. So to start things
Okay.
off with Zelda, I
Both of
mean,
them. All right.
she got in the beginning and like that was it.
Real bad.
Like, yeah, like she was stoned for most of the story. So like I'm just
She was fun though.
Yeah.
yeah.
She had a little attitude. She wanted to get out there. Like she didn't. She felt kind of Tetra-y,
She won a shield for me.
but like in a dress.
In a dress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I mean the worst Zelda I think is like a toss up because there's a few that don't really have that. So it's hard to weigh which one's like, worse. They're kind of all in like a bucket. I just put the
Okay.
Minish Cap one there because it's like lower on my list. And then Minish Cap Link, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. He's got the cane Apache, which pretty much speaks for himself. But um, yeah, I mean, outside of that, like, I don't know. He's just wasn't the most
Yeah.
captivating.
Who does he think he is?
All right. Did you already say your worst Ganon?
Oh no, I didn't. Sorry. So just in terms of this specific list, um, I have a toss up and I can't really decide. So I'm just gonna put them both here. A Link to the Past Ganon and Breath of the Wild Ganon.
Okay.
Um, Mostly because actually, I'm gonna say Link to the Past Ganon because now I just had a thought that Breath of the Wild Ganon pretty much succeeded in his goal from an underground cave. So like, let me just scratch that out of there. He's good. Link to the Past
He's a big
Ganon.
swirly monster boy. I like him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
for me, Link to the Past Ganon, he had Aghanim do like literally everything. So like he lost, right? He's gone away for now. And then Aghanim does all these things. Aghanim is such a loyal dude, loyal bro. All for Ganon to come back for like 10 minutes and then we destroy him again. I mean, he literally wasted Aghanim's like effort that he spent doing
Yeah.
all of this stuff to just lose again. I'm like, you don't got it, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He waited too long. Should have tried to kill us before the silver arrow. We got a silver arrow.
Right.
It's definitely a theme with Ganondorfs. We'll see that as we play more games too. But all right, so I guess I'll go through mine here. My favorite Link is also the Skyward Sword Link. Before you even said that, that was like the first thing I had decided here. He has personality. He has the multiple choices for the voice, like for dialogue, but also he's like very obviously determined to do what he needs to do. Like he cares very much for the Zelda in his game, as a friend, and as, possibly like a romantic partner, right? But like it's very clear that like whenever there's a cutscene that involves him, you can see the determination in his face of like trying to live up to the duty of being a Knight of Skyloft, and like he takes
Messing up.
the story very seriously. Yeah, even when he messes up,
Yeah.
like he kind of owns up to it
Right.
and has to learn and grow.
Yeah, like the first like act of the game is you kind of redeeming yourself throughout it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I think just with the expressions that they give him, like the midway art style that they went, like they weren't trying to be too realistic, but they also weren't trying to be too cartoony. Like I think they just kind of nailed it with Skyward Sword. My favorite Zelda is Ocarina of Time Zelda for the reasons already stated.
Mhm.
The most agency in the game, and actually, was the one delivering all the music and the poems that I just talked about how great they were.
Yeah.
So there's no way it couldn't have been her.
And we were even talking about how like kid Zelda's pretty great. Like adult Zelda's, we don't see her very often. She gets stolen away immediately. But like kid Zelda, a lot of personality,
oh yeah,
making a lot of moves, writing letters to guards to give us access, like a driving force of the story,
Mhm.
an interesting character. She's motivated.
kind of
Yeah.
pre-introduced as having prophetic dreams, and like when she
Mhm.
sees you, she's like, "Oh, you're the fairy boy I've seen in my dreams. Like you got the green thing." Like she's ready
Yeah.
to deliver like the next set of steps here.
She's on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then my favorite Ganon. This is gonna probably seem like out of left field, but it's actually Demise. Um,
Mm.
I don't like the avocado fights. Like I don't. The imprisoned is garbage. 100%. I totally agree with that. Once Demise actually becomes a person, like an actual demon form, like you know, um, and like becomes basically an anime villain. Who decides that he's gonna do the honorable thing and like take you on in single combat in his like
At Final Destination.
lightning dimension. Yeah, like I'm like, yeah, you know what, I can respect the way this guy shows up on the scene and is like, all right, like here's how we're gonna
Yeah.
do this, come meet me and we'll face off for your humanity. And it's like, oh wow, all right.
Yeah. He's like, we're gonna do 3 stock, Final Destination, no items, like fair fight.
Yeah. And if you defeat me, you save your people. So, don't take too long. Like,
Sort of.
all
You
right.
sort of save your people. You sort of save your people.
Well, yeah, it's a whole thing. But
At this
I
point, the cycle's already broken.
I
but
like
yeah,
it.
or has started.
I think it's very effective, and I've been waiting for Demise to return in one of these games this whole time. But it really just seems
Thought
like
we were gonna get him.
yeah, it just seems like they keep putting him inside of giant pigs. So I don't know if we're ever gonna get him, but maybe one day. My least favorite Link is the Minish Cap Link. Because he's kind of just a dumb kid. To be honest, like I feel mean saying that, but they really don't give him a whole lot of like even the expressions of Toon Link in Wind Waker. They don't really do a great job of giving that to the Minish Cap Toon Link. Like he's just kind of always confused, and Eslow's always insulting him, and he doesn't really stand up for himself with any of that. So it's just I don't know. I'm like, dude, grow up a little bit, maybe like stand up for yourself, do something. But He's got skills. He just doesn't seem to have self-respect. So, as for my least favorite Zelda, I'm just gonna throw this out there: the A Link to the Past Zelda. She's just one of the maidens for most of the game, and just really doesn't. I mean, you get a couple messages from her, but that's about it. There's just not anything there, just lacking substance, I guess. So that's not really like there's nothing really negative to say, but there's not really anything much to say in the first place. So just not present enough. And then my least favorite Ganon is the Breath of the Wild Ganon. Because it's just a pig cloud, and then when you get up to it, it's a spider monster that becomes a giant pig. And it's like none of this is like
Spider Monster Ganon.
Yeah, it's like we just kind of threw like a horror game villain into your Zelda game and called that the big bad. It's like, okay. It's not really depth. It's all shock value is what it is. So not a huge fan of that one.
Yeah.
That's my list.
I'll say that. So I think my favorite Ganondorf, like I said, I'm pretty sure it's Ocarina. Very obvious reasons. He's always there. He's a really good villain. He's very like his face is just a permanent like knowing grin. Like it doesn't look good because it's it's the 64, but like when I see him on his horse interrogating me, he's just like, oh, you've got nothing. Come on, you're 10. Like he's just in this like what can stop me? What can stop me? And he's great. I think my favorite Zelda is Wind Waker Zelda because Tetra is one of my favorite video game characters like ever, hands down. Great, has agency, is a little bit suspect, not like above board, is a pirate, is willing to do things that benefit herself, but also like will take care of people that have taken care of her, and is just, I don't know. Tetra's a great character. I've always just thought like, you nailed it. Like why would you take that character away? Keep using that character. Do more things with Tetra. Give us Tetris trackers or whatever. And my favorite Link, I think, is Wind Waker Link.
Okay.
I think so.
He's got the facial expressions.
He's expressive. He's got a family that I adore. I would go to bat for them. I make fun of him for like jumping off of a cliff right off the bat, but I think I make fun of everyone else for like immediately being like, this child is courageous, and it was like, no, this child is 10 and traumatized and just watched his sister get carried off by a giant bird. I don't know. I feel for Link. I think the things that the adults make him do in that game are dumb, but it's a video game. It's fine. But I also just I love him. I feel for him. I think he's hilarious. I think the noises that he makes are dumb. I bonded with him. And I think he's just my favorite. I don't know.
Nice.
Least favorite Ganon. I don't know if it's not Breath of the Wild. Like it's such a close contender though. It's just, the thing about open world games is the final boss is always like kind of underwhelming. It's just the nature of having a giant open world game, and then you chase someone in a car for a while and then shoot them. So it's kind of disappointing, but I like the Hyrule Castle, and I like his big swirly nonsense, and so I don't know, I think that saves it for me. He's just been more boring in other games. And yeah, I don't know if I just had to pick a more boring game. It would be like, yeah, he shows up at the end for like Aghanim. He's barely in Twilight Princess, so maybe Twilight Princess. That's a good fight though. But yeah, maybe it's A Link to the Past. That one's a little more of a tough toss up for me, I guess. And then like least favorite Zelda is Zelda 2 because she's sleeping the whole time. You know.
Oh, true.
She's going off the 7 games here.
Like we see her at the beginning, and then it's the 7 games, right? Okay. I think then it's Link to the Past, maybe, because she's not like very involved in the story. Minish Cap probably also the same. Probably does even less, but like I said, she's got a little bit of an attitude there. She's your best friend. She wakes you up out of bed, whereas usually it's a storm that wakes you up or an uncle who's about to die or something. So yeah, maybe we just go with a Link to the Past. And then what's my least favorite Link? That I don't know. Like I like my little pink haired buddy. I love Minish Cap. I don't know. It feels wrong picking that one as my least favorite Link. I don't know why. I just don't feel it. So, maybe my least favorite Link is Tears of the Kingdom Link because of the lag. He can't pick up the fish. Because by the time the button pops up to say, "Hey, do you want to grab this fish?" the fish has already swum away because the lag's so awful. So maybe that's my least favorite Link because he can't pick up fish.
What a reason.
There we go.
Cam, how you doing?
Oh, hey, what's up? I guess like my favorite Link out of this group is probably Wind Waker because those comedy scenes are amazing, and I feel like he's just generally expressive in a lot of the cutscenes, where his eyes and his face kind of tell the whole story. He doesn't need words because you could see it. And I guess you guys have been mentioning Skyward Sword for that, but like I said, I really don't remember most of Skyward Sword already, so I can't say I really remember any times that Link did anything because that game is mostly removed from my memory at this point.
Feel that.
My favorite Ganon is Ocarina of Time Ganon because like he went after what he was doing. He actually accomplished it, but then it wasn't enough for him. So like the megalomaniac that Ganon always is, he's like, I need more. So he like waits 7 years while tearing the world apart for Link to become an adult so he can try to tear him apart. And also that laugh scene is great.
Isn't it just fun to describe him?
It is.
Like I just felt good while I felt happy while I was describing like how he went for it, and I love him.
Except he's a terrible person. Aside from that,
oh yeah, the worst.
Favorite Zelda is probably Tetra because she's spunky and a yondeer. Like, you know, when she turns into Zelda and she realizes she's Zelda, she like loses all of the things that I like about her and kind of becomes a vanilla cookie where she's like, I'll go wait in the room now. And that doesn't really do much until the final battle, which I guess she does stuff in the final battle, but it doesn't really feel like she adds that much to the overall story. She's more of a plot device, it feels like, in Wind Waker, but I really like her as Tetra, the pirate and all that. You can't go in her room kind of thing. It's just, I don't know, I like that. And my favorite...
She's great.
Oh, I guess I'm done with my favorites. Or did I do Link? Yeah. Okay, so my least favorites. My favorite Link was Wind Waker because it was expressive.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my least favorites, I mean, honestly, it feels like Link in any game before Ocarina of Time was just kind of the main character. Didn't really feel like he had much aside from I go through dungeons, I talk to people, I hit stuff with sword, and then eventually I beat Ganon. So pretty much any older game, Link is kind of my least favorite because it just does. He's the main character, the silent main character. If I had to pick one, I guess maybe like A Link to the Past because he just kind of walks up to his uncle that's dying. He's like, "I'll take that sword now," and just walks away without like even a moment to remember his uncle. So I mean, that's kind of cold on my guy.
Wow.
But he has that little like hop walk that he does that's just so endearing as he walks away from his dead uncle whose sword he's just stolen. With that little like like his hair bobs, and he looks so cool. He looks so great. I like him.
Oh,
My least favorite Zelda is Minish Cat because she's just stoned the whole time. Like she's not even a part of the story. She's so stoned the whole time. It's just not even great.
The phrasing.
Oh, sorry. She's
They just
petrified the
take-
whole time. She's just so petrified the whole time that she just doesn't do anything. And my least favorite Ganon, I thought we were doing all the games. So originally I was going to say Twilight Princess because like what even is Zant? But then
Yeah.
if we're keeping it to the 7, I guess it would go Wind Waker just because I feel like he's trying, like he shouldn't. My guy is just angry, a mean-spirited person, and he's doing bad stuff because he's a bad guy. And then he's trying to come up with all these reasons and these all the wind and all this stuff. Like, guy, you just, after everything you did in Ocarina of Time, like we know your backstory and everything, like you're just a bad guy. Like stop talking about all this stuff, the gods of blah 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 blah. He's a bad guy. He wants to rule the world and cover it with darkness because he's a bad guy. And he's coming up with all these reasons about why it's okay. And it's like, stop trying to justify the fact that you're just a bad guy. I don't know.
All right.
And then one honorable mention, best Groose, obviously, Skyward Sword.
Best
hands down.
Bruce. It's just no contest. It's just
Groose needs to be in more
I mean,
content.
we all know it.
Bruce does need his own game. He needs to return with his own game.
Yeah.
Do we could like Link's crossbow training be Groose's Groosinator training? Just be
Oh,
you
no.
riding on Shag, shooting stuff down.
Why didn't they have that as the free inclusion on the Switch 2 for how you play the thing? Like, you know how it's got that mouse function that nobody uses? You could have that be like you moved the track in Groose's Groosinator training. They could have just, missed opportunity.
It's
I don't
another
think the
opportunity
sales
to
on
put that game in front of people.
crossbow training did well.
What, you didn't have the Wii Zapper?
I had the Wii Zapper. I had Link's crossbow training. It was so good. I mean, you want to talk about favorite Links?
Link's crossbow training, Link. What?
All right.
I was gonna stick an honorable mention in there that I just thought of as everyone was going through their spiels. Ocarina of Time Ganon, obviously great, but I think that Tears of the Kingdom Ganon actually is a very, very close second to being my favorite Ganon.
He gets the meme award for dehydration.
Yeah, he does get that. Like starts off dry, but starts off strong.
Yeah. He was like a
Great
withered
fight.
husk turned into basically demise almost, and then we finally get to fight him with like a old like Japanese Western film style with a katana, and it was just a super cool fight. And then he got so mad that he ate a stone and became a. I mean, it's just they nailed
Secret
that
Stone?
part of the game. The
It's
Secret
good
Stone.
stuff.
Yeah,
Secret Stones.
I will say
Demon
the
King.
conclusion of that game was better and worth it for the whole game.
Definitely better ending fight than Breath of the Wild, for sure.
Yeah. Give me Breath of the Wild, but
Um,
with the Tears of the Kingdom fight.
Yeah, and a good strong presence throughout the game, throughout the memories, and like throughout the hands in the world. He also very looming throughout the game, whereas like in Breath of the Wild, he's like, oh no, Ganon showed back up and just as a miasma that took over all the robots.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think he was actually very glooming.
Gosh.
Mhm.
All right. So this brings us to our next segment, which will be our
malice.
last segment
Calamity.
before we close out this season and this episode, which has been going on for 2 hours now. What we are playing next season. I don't know if we've actually mentioned it just casually already, but our next game that we'll be playing will be A Link Between Worlds.
Which is
Haven't
kind of like
played
what
this
this whole
one either.
episode was us linking all the things between the different worlds of Link and
Yeah.
Zelda, you know? This whole episode was a segue. You guys just didn't even realize it.
I'm excited for A Link Between Worlds. It's kind of, spiritual successor to A Link to the Past, which did get a lot
Ooh.
of hype in this episode. Should be a good time for all of us. It's one of the best like handheld Zeldas, right up there with A Link to the Past and the Minish Cap. If not
You gotta watch out for
surpassing
the
them
repo bird.
in some ways. Watch out for
Also-
which bird?
You gotta watch out for the repo bird.
All right, watch out for the repo bird.
All I know is
if you die, he's gonna come and get his stuff back.
All I know is that I will own nothing and be happy. I mean, wait, what?
All right. Well, with that being said, let's close out this episode. Thank you all, everyone, for listening to this season and this episode of A for No, B for Yes. Thank you to Luigi for joining us.
Thank you, Luigi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our next episode will be within our next season, so be on the lookout for that from A for No, B for Yes.
hold on. I gotta give some thanks. Thank you. But legit. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
No, thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
No, really, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, yous all.
Thank you. Did you get all that?